Listen, everyone, and I'll tell you how it'll go. I'm the infamous Oryan, and I am a schmoe. Here is Chrial, he is 1, 2. And this is about the fucko right in front of you. Hold on, wanting to be great again. He's one of those kind of peaked in high school kind of friends. He pandered and lied to anyone with a grift. And now he's going to bail houses looking so miffed. Hold on, all the elections he tried to steal. Now he learns his consequences are real. And he fucks around, and he finds out. And this is what this story is about. How was that, Chrial?
I hope that came through.
What?
I was clapping. I don't know if that came through or not, though.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Like noise suppression crap, it might not have came through.
That's what I worried about with this guitar here. I couldn't plug it in because it was making too much interference.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck. Welcome to the Two Schmoes Show, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be available on iTunes never.
I'd pay £215 for it in the UK.
215 pounds. Oh. Oh. I'm posting those lyrics in the fucking chat because I want to get to that later. Okay. So all of y'all, I don't know if you heard the news, but there's some photos out there that are very fun and great. And it was a miserable night on Twitter waiting for those fucking photos.
It was long.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
We were promised them on Thursday, right? Like last
Yep.
Thursday.
Thursday night.
Thursday night. And then we got moved back to 7:30. And
Yep.
then we had to watch as every little individual piece of information, which I learned a lot about the arrest process that night,
Uh-huh.
as it all came seeping in as if it was sap from a maple tree.
Did you see the fucking, I don't even want to call it a motorcade, the parade they gave him?
There was a parade?
There basically was a parade of cops.
Of course there was.
I was seeing video of it posted around on Reddit and Twitter. The rough count was that there was about 40 police vehicles escorting him to the Fulton, Georgia jail
Did they
to get
consider
booked.
that 20 would have been fine?
I The interesting thing that I saw was that this was probably a bunch of cops trying to go for overtime pay.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Because yeah, they have a strong union, so they get like quadruple time or some shit.
And I guess you can't have too many good old boys watching over the former president.
Definitely not. But yeah, Trump booked at the Fulton County Jail, self-reported a height and weight of 6'3" and 215 pounds.
And who does that match, good sir? You were telling me about this in our personal
So
DMs?
that is almost exactly the same height and weight as Muhammad Ali at his fighting peak was.
That's hilarious. And unlikely.
Yes. I was especially amused by the pictures of Trump at his inauguration standing next to Obama, who is 6'1", and they are almost exactly the same.
You see, I can believe 6'1".
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a little over 6 foot? Yeah, sure. But no, Trump's got to juice those numbers.
You know how it is, bro. It's hard gaining women to like you when you're under 6 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
And even when you are 6 feet tall, you have to fight with the other 6 feet tall guys.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, you're in the 6 foot range, right?
Yeah, like
Fuck
just
you.
at.
Fuck you.
I'm probably at the point in my life where I'm starting to shrink now. It's been a while
Good.
since I've had a physical.
It's not fair. Okay, little bit of Schmoes lore. When we were living together with our other roommates, everybody was like fucking 6 feet tall except for me. I was the shortest person there. And if you think I have short person syndrome, you're goddamn right. I've learned this with like all my friends that they're taller than me, and I don't know what
Mm.
it is that they want to adopt this little manlet that is me.
I've honestly never really paid much attention to it.
Oh, I'll tell you this, I have.
It sure seems like it.
I've had to bend my neck at a fucking 35, well, actually, probably 45-degree angle to speak to you. You've never noticed.
No, it is not that dramatic.
Fine, I'll go back to 35, but I will not
All
go
right,
lower.
whatever.
Oh, y'all can tell I'm working through some things today. Yeah, I also call bullshit on the 215 pounds.
Yeah, it's obviously, excuse me, obviously inaccurate, but it is funny.
It is very funny. Like, did Trump himself give those numbers, or do you think
Yeah.
like someone was just filling it in based off eyeballing?
If I had to guess, they're probably numbers that were self-reported whenever he last had his state ID issued,
Mm,
and they just copied it off of that.
that's
That would be what
hilarious.
I would guess. Because like when you get a state ID, no one measures you. They don't care.
Yeah,
As long as it's not like obviously wrong, no one gives a shit. And he probably, back in like the early 2000s or whatever, he probably gave himself a few inches and he took 20 pounds off.
so what you're saying is I can pretend I am 6 foot tall with my next ID.
Hmm?
Hell
Oh
yes.
yeah, no one will challenge you on it until you get arrested for 90 something different charges.
Is he
But
up
just
to
don't do
90?
that.
Oh,
Well, so he's had, I don't know what his is in particular, but he has four separate indictments, each of them with a myriad of charges. He's well into the double digits for sure. There's actually something that I was trying to figure out the information on because a lot of this is clouded in, the hype around it, right?
yeah.
There's like this stupid CNBC article on the recap for it that's like so long, and there's literally like three paragraphs that are worth even mentioning. And there's so much of that, but um already there's been a number of, I don't want to say proceedings for all of it. There's at least one filing of somebody looking to disqualify Trump from running for president in 2024. And in addition, California Governor Newsom has, I believe, outright stated that Trump will not be on the California ballot in 2024 for the same reasons.
That's fucking huge.
It remains to be seen. So there's two problems with it, right? One is enforcement.
Yeah.
It comes down to the individual states and their election boards as to what actually happens, who's going to challenge it, if they even are, and if it really matters, right? Like, what odds does Trump have of winning California? Zero.
Yeah.
If you're Florida, you're probably not going to be filing these lawsuits or recognizing the results. So
Unless you're
there's,
still DeSantis and he's still unraveling at the seams.
yeah. So there is very much, in terms of the pre-election side, it remains to be seen what actual enforcement there's going to be. If Trump was to win the 2024 election, then these arguments would almost certainly be coming back in force, with the idea being that per the 14th Amendment, where did it go? Let me just get the full text. I had it a second ago. Uh, is it what? I'm just gonna Google it because these people aren't helping. 14th, 14th Amendment. It's the third section. Disqualification argument is that public officials will be not eligible to assume public office if they have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the United States or had given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof.
Mm.
With the current argument being that his being aware of the insurrection as it was ongoing and choosing to not act by either sending out the National Guard or really doing anything would fall under giving aid. And it's honestly kind of a weak argument.
Yeah.
And the ongoing prosecution, particularly in Georgia, and I would expect to see similar prosecutions start to spring up in other states like Arizona and Michigan here, feel much more, you know, real in terms of linking cause and effect. Because on January 6th itself, Trump can just sit there and say, well, I just didn't do anything. I don't have to act. I wasn't even president anymore. You know, stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
So having a better case feels much more important to this rather than what's going on now. This specific case that was filed, I've seen some pretty valid criticism that the person who filed it seems to be jumping the gun a little bit for possibly their own gain, just getting headlines like these. But who's to really say?
I mean, at this point, I feel like things are so far in the woodwork that they can't be stopped. So, like, just trying to add stuff is just antiquated. You don't have to do it because, like,
Mm-hmm.
you're just trying to put your fucking, keys in the bowl so everybody, like, knows you matter.
Yep. Seeing all the mugshots coming out though has been quite cathartic.
Who's your favorite mugshot? My favorite's Rudy.
Rudy's is pretty good. He looks like shit.
Yeah, Rudy. Like, I miss the old. I hesitate to say old Rudy because it's the same fucking Rudy, but I wanted at least a little bit of that old classic Rudy Giuliani, like smearing hair dye falling out through his sweat.
Mm-hmm.
But Mark Meadows also has a pretty funny one as well.
Mm-hmm.
I love how
Yeah.
smug he looks.
I was surprised. This is gonna be kind of silly, but Kenneth, I think it's technically pronounced. I don't know if it's Cheesebro or Chesbro. Um, is one of the ones who's like an actual Trump attorney who I hadn't actually seen before. So it was interesting to actually put a face to him. Most of them have been, people of enough note that you've seen them giving interviews and shit, but I don't think I've seen him before. So that was kind of weird. It's like,
Is
oh yeah, you look like what I expected you to look like.
my favorite thing out of all these mugshots is somebody did an edit of the whole like cast as Batman
Mm,
villains.
yes, it's very good.
God bless you, whoever you are out there. And if you're an atheist, God bless you either way. I want you to live, damn it.
I'll say it is also pretty hard to beat Trump's, where he's like, you can tell he like practiced this a
Yeah.
lot, and he is expertly hiding all of his many chins and his jowls.
Honestly, I want like a canvas painting of this, to be honest, a little bit. Because like you can see a little bit of skin like hanging towards the bottom of his collar.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what he's doing, and I love this, he's looking down very slightly at the camera, and it is
Yep.
to hide those chins.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you can tell those chins are still there, though, because although the lighting's kind of flat because police lighting, you can still see like where his first chin separates, and there's like this little overhang of skin going into the shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he's doing the DreamWorks eyebrow thing.
Yeah.
Is he our new pro tag for Shrek?
Could be.
Cool.
Doing a quick skim. I think that's pretty much it. It's like we were saying before the show, there's not a whole lot to talk about for this. It's
No, it's
just
just funny.
like it's something that happened. I've enjoyed seeing, certain people's reactions to it. There's some guy in Georgia that was wearing a "he lost" shirt that I found really amusing, waiting for it to happen.
Oh, my favorite so far has been people taking like fake mugshots in solidarity with Trump.
I haven't seen that.
Oh,
That's very
really?
dumb.
Oh, fuck. Let me see if I can find hers. Um, because I
Please
think
do.
Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Of
patron,
course.
yeah, she did one.
I've really enjoyed seeing the bail bond news, where apparently both Trump and Rudy had to go to a bail bond, like a bail bond shop, because,
Yes,
they're rolling in that money, clearly.
I can believe it with Rudy. I don't believe. I don't understand why Trump would do it. By the way, there's hers.
See, that looks so bad.
It's a bad Photoshop.
Did they crop? Oh, wow, they did. They couldn't even just get her in front of a white background.
Yeah,
How stupid.
it really is. It's half-assed, and you want to know the funny thing?
Mm,
That's not like something original she took. That's from her fucking press photos when she became a
yeah,
senator.
I believe it.
There's the original photo,
Yeah. Wow, that's so badly cropped.
isn't it? Like you would start looking at the hair or like towards the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wouldn't even be that hard to do in Photoshop.
No, it's not. And you know, if it weren't for the fact that she
Wow.
posted it herself, I would have believed someone else did it as a gag.
Yeah, it looks like it. That looks like the amount of effort some like I would put in to make, a shitty crop out for like a thumbnail or a meme that I'm making.
Bless you, Chrial, but I would say you would at least put the contrast as something different.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's fair. But yeah, so I mean, the big thing with the bail is that it just puts into context how not wealthy Trump is, right? If you have it's the $200,000 bail, right? I've enjoyed seeing the math on this because if you say he has like, I don't even know.
My favorite theory is that his assets are all like just hard to get a hold of right now because of all the fucking
Yeah,
investigations. That he really just didn't have enough liquid cash on him.
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, even for someone with like, say he has $1 billion, that is a fraction of a fraction of his wealth.
Mm-hmm.
But he had to go get, a 90-10 split from a bail bondsman.
Could you imagine being that bail bond place and all of a sudden fucking Rudy Giuliani walks in? And you're like, wow, that's gonna be our highest profile client of the day. And then just a few hours later,
hmm Apparently, it is a place that is known for doing like celebrity bonds,
that's hilarious.
which is very dumb. But yeah, it's about what you'd expect. Other big news. Uh, I guess are are you at all? Are you surprised that it took this long for Yevgeny Prigozhin to be killed?
Honestly, I thought if he wasn't killed in the first month after the insurrection thing that he pulled,
Yeah.
he was going to get off scot free. I can't believe they played the long game with this, which is not really much of a long game in the grand scheme of things. But I do not know how to interpret why it took this long.
The whole thing is really bizarre too.
Yeah,
Like where was he and when,
yeah,
right? Because like days before this, he claimed he was in Africa, where the Wagner mercenary group is legitimately operating as part of a coup in Niger, I want to
yeah,
say.
yeah.
And it was, like, oh yeah, sure, he's there. Who cares? But he's also supposedly supposed to be in Belarus in exile, allegedly. But the plane, his private jet that was seems to have been shot down in some way. There's a U.S. intelligence assessment that deemed it intentionally, some sort of intentional explosion, was flying between two Russian cities. So the whole thing is very weird in terms of like putting a timeline to it. But we do know it was definitely his plane, One of the 10 passengers on board definitely seems to be him based on physical similarities. Uh, it's not absolutely confirmed or anything, right? Because, it was a plane crash. There's some video of people in nearby that went to check it out, and it was pretty bad where it landed,
Mm-hmm.
as you'd imagine. Nobody survived, and, it exploded in midair. So, but yeah, whole thing's very strange. But at the same time, pretty expected.
I mean, he kind of brought it on himself for not finishing the job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like you tried to throw a coup against Putin and then you balked at the halfway mark.
Like, why'd you? I'm sorry. That's something like I'm sure it was a lot of money that he got out of it, and like it was about sending a message.
Well,
But
yeah, but look where it got him.
exactly, you just. I've said this once, and I'll say it again. Putin realistically is kind of like one of the scarier world leaders at the moment, and,
Hmm.
and this is just more proof of that. Like, don't get me wrong, he's fun to make fun of at times, but you got to remember this dude
Oh
was
yeah,
the KGB.
yeah, kind of.
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of.
I'm I'm mostly surprised that this was so public, right? It's a meme, right?
Yeah,
That Russians can fall out of a first story window and die, but it's a meme for a reason. It's because that's generally the level of relative discretion that they use when they tend to have people killed. There's a reason Navalny's been poisoned like 6 times now.
mm-hmm.
This is very over the top for what would be expected.
It's not about just killing the person; it's about sending a message.
It's weird.
Yeah, because like I knew it, you knew it when we saw the headlines. We knew exactly what happened the moment like it said plane crashed, and look who was inside. Did they say why it crashed?
The plane.
Yeah.
Let me pull up the website here that was talking about this. ABC was reporting on it. Intentional explosion. From the video that I saw of it, there were people commenting, pointing out multiple contrails leading over to where the plane was when it exploded because the video starts, through the explosion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't know whose plane it was. They just saw this plane fucking explode and they started recording it. So it seems to be that there was some sort of surface to air missile that struck it, which would make sense. Russia's at war. There's lots of that lying around. There was also an unconfirmed, as far as I could tell, report from one of the ground crew where the plane was taking off that it had some sort of emergency maintenance that was done on it that seems suspicious, but that is also unconfirmed. But from analysis of the video alone, it's very obvious that some sort of intentional explosion happened and caused the plane to go into a nosedive and spiral.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like, oh, something broke and now we're slowly going down. It was plummeting.
Yeah. Amazing that Putin could orchestrate that all halfway across the world. We can't take fucking Ukraine.
Yeah. To be fair, I believe the plane was allegedly flying out of Moscow, so it was in his neck of the woods already.
Never mind then. I was totally under a different impression that it was leaving from Africa.
No, that is the weird thing, though, right?
Yeah.
And the reasonable explanation is that he was just lying when he said he was in Africa.
Yeah.
But yeah, the plane went down 4 days ago. Was that Thursday as well? Wednesday? One, two, three, four. Wednesday. I believe it was on Monday. He posted a video where he was like, "Yes, I am in Africa here, supporting the Wagner Group as we do whatever." And it's like, okay, sure, makes sense. And then he's back in Russia again. So who fucking knows?
So fucking weird that mercenary groups just have social media videos and they just like hang out on there.
It's really weird.
What this?
It's like how ISIS had a YouTube channel.
Yeah, isn't it? It's like, yo, welcome to our unboxing video. Let's see what we're unboxing today. And from Mr. Ted Kaczynski. Yes, this is a little bit of a vintage video and a vintage package we got from back in the day. Fuck.
Apparently, a Russian investigative committee, like a government body, so this says SK. I don't know what that means, but they have confirmed, like basically DNA testing, confirming all 10 of the deceased, including Prigozhin. Sorry.
Rip.
Among them was also Dmitry Utkin, who was a manager, someone who managed Wagner's military operations. Uh, Another one, two, three, four, five Wagner members, along with pilot, co-pilot, and a flight attendant. So yeah, that's a pretty high priority target, I'd say. 7 high-ranking Wagner military members and the people flying the plane.
Life finds a way.
Mm-hmm.
Putin must have been like foaming at the mouth at the idea of all that.
How so?
You know, he's just got like this one plane leaving from Russia, got a lot of
Oh,
political opponents on
yeah.
it. Like he needs a W. This man
Yep.
has not had a W in a while.
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. At the same time, Ukraine is gaining tremendous ground, and particularly in Crimea, apparently, which has been kind of a surprise. They've really struggled, being a peninsula, but they have been doing real strikes in Crimea. They've been getting drone attacks into Russia itself, disrupting their air traffic. Uh, so I'd say he has bigger problems, but I guess on like a Putin scale.
This man is so
You
fucking
gotta
petty, dude. Like
you gotta grade it on a curve.
yeah. So I just found something from my notes for this episode that I totally forgot we were going to do.
What's that?
Remember how we were talking about the Pepsi document?
Mm.
And then I brought up Time Cube?
Okay.
I have the full Time Cube website from way back in 2015, back when it was still being like published on New Findings. We could probably save that for
Okay.
later, but I wanted to at least
Yeah.
bring it up because this thing is fucking wild and I cannot wait to break your mind.
We'll definitely get there. First though, let's talk some union activity because
Oh, I
the
love
unions
unions.
they've been winning.
W's?
I guess to a degree. They've been not losing, at least, I guess, would be the way to put it. So it means that the bastards they're fighting against haven't been winning either. Gotta see if I can find one for the NLRB, because that was another big one that I'm still not entirely sure, but from what I was seeing, the union organizers were very excited about this ruling. And I believe we'll start with that one and work our way down to Dune. Because the big news, from what I understand from the people who are on the ground with the union organizers, the big news for them this week was a National Labor Relations Board ruling that basically said if a workplace or a business was found to be involved in union busting activity, instead that will provide for automatic authorization of unionization for its workers.
What?
Yes.
No, no way. That should not. This is America. We don't do shit like that.
Yes.
That's huge.
So, the brief summary here: if the majority of workers can prove that they want a union to represent them, a company has 2 options: recognize the union and bargain with them, or request an election. If the company requests an election and is found to have interfered in the election by engaging in unfair labor practices, the election is basically declared void and the company is forced to recognize the union and bargain with them.
Who did that? That's amazing.
Yep.
When did that go into
It's
effect?
pretty neat. 2 days ago.
Holy shit, dude.
A 3-1 decision by the NLRB board involving a case with building materials company Cemex Construction.
I cannot wait for the Supreme Court to fuck that up, and then I can be even more upset at the world.
Mm-hmm. In Friday's decision, the Democrat-led board partially revived a doctrine known as Joyce Silk, named for the 1949 case in which the NLRB said employers must bargain with unions unless they have a good faith doubt that majority support exists. The board abandoned the jury soap doctrine in the 1970s after the U.S. Supreme Court imposed a different standard in 1969 case NLRB versus Giselle Packing Company. In Giselle, the court said that the NLRB could force employers to bargain when they engaged in misconduct so severe that any election could be tainted. Friday's decision came one day after the NLRB announced a final ruling reviving Obama-era regulations designed to speed up the union election process. Chair Lauren McFerrin said Friday's decision and the new rule together will strengthen the board's ability to provide workers with a fair and timely process for seeking union representation.
Things like that just don't happen.
It's pretty crazy, but it sure seems like it. It's the kind of thing that is surprising to see happen, but is also very common sense.
Yeah, it's incredibly common sense.
Right. So the workers still need to prove that a majority of those workers are interested or desire a union. But that is a very informal process, and this is meant to stop interference in the formal election process. So if you are an employer, your best bet is to just let the election happen, and if your employees are actually, not interested in a union, they will vote that way. Because even if the election is in rejection of the union and you interfere, you're just shooting yourself in the foot then, because it automatically goes against you.
Could you imagine those poor union reps who don't want the election to win, and then they would have voted not to win, but because the company fucked up and interfered, now they're all just forced to a union that they don't want?
I don't know. A lot of the, many of the anti-union sentiment seems to come from a place of ignorance, really.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is born out of these exact kind of intimidation techniques.
I think the only people who are anti-union are the people who have never seen the good a union can do.
Mm-hmm.
I've been pretty lucky, and both my parents were in very strong unions, so
Mm-hmm.
I was always pretty privy to how great a union is for what, my dad, for example, does unskilled. Well, technically it's skilled, but his job isn't exactly, you don't need a college degree for that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's factory water heater welding and whatnot. So pretty blue collar. A lot of fuckers in his situation would get taken advantage of in a heartbeat. Because let's face it, you don't need to be the most book smart people to do that. And a lot of those upper class management people would love to take advantage of that shit at a heartbeat,
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of a strong union,
Yo.
United Auto Workers has voted overwhelmingly to authorize a strike at GM, Ford, and Stellantis.
Ooh. What's
It's a
it?
similar strike.
Yeah.
Just general pay and conditions. They failed to come to a contract agreement in the recent round that they had.
Get their ass, boys and girls. I mean,
Yep. Let me see here. Union on Friday said an average of 97% of combined members of the automakers approved the action. However, final votes are still being tallied, in line with support during negotiations 4 years ago, when 96% of workers who voted supported authorization for a strike. Notably, 4 years ago, 2019, when that strike happened, the 40-day strike against GM led to a production loss of 300,000 vehicles. Also cost the automaker $3.6 billion in earnings, according to GM. You'd think they'd be a little bit more interested in coming to the table.
no, never, never give in to their demands. Rrr. If we give in to their demands, our holiday bonuses are going to go away. That's just like them.
Mm-hmm. The UAW has more than $825 million in its strike funds, which it would use to pay eligible members who are striking. Strike pay is $500 per week for each member, up from $275 per week last year. Assuming the 150,000 or so members covered by their contracts, a strike would cost the union about $75 million per week, and they could strike for at least 11 weeks. However, it doesn't cover healthcare costs that the union would cover, such as temporary COVID plans that would likely drain the fund quicker. But The last strike they did was 40 days, so about like 5 working weeks.
I'm all for it. Did you hear what John Oliver's been doing to support the strike for his writers?
I did. He's been doing stand up again.
It's badass. I wish I could go to one of his shows.
It would be cool.
Wouldn't it? Like, unfortunately, he's not going anywhere near Michigan, which I understand.
I saw that too.
Yeah.
You know, you never know. If the strike continues, maybe they'll have to add more shows, and he'll show up in Grand Rapids or Detroit.
This is a big shout out to my CEO listeners. I know CEOs listen to this show because we're very popular.
All of them do.
Yeah.
All the ones that matter, at least.
Bob, don't you dare go back to that table. Not until John Oliver comes to Michigan. And if he comes to Michigan and I can't get tickets, then you can go to the table. Who are the other CEOs? Like Slavok?
I have no idea.
I don't know either. I don't fucking idolize these fuckers.
The only reason I know that Bob is one is because I know the last, like, Disney has 2 Bob CEOs. I could not tell you which one it is that is actually the CEO now. I just know that they're both named Bob.
I know there was Bob Iger before, then we had the second
Yeah.
Bob, and then the second Bob fucked up so bad they had to go to the previous Bob.
Makes sense.
What else do we have to cover?
Oh. Dune Part 2 delayed to March 15th, 2024. Believed to be amid the current WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes that continue to drag on. Which we had some other news about this week that was pretty bleak, where, you know, the negotiators for the unions had a conversation with the various CEOs and leaders of the companies that they're striking against. And it was very clear that those CEOs were not interested in negotiating in good faith.
No. What was it? They said they felt insulted afterwards?
Pretty much. And I can't blame them.
I meant like the CEOs.
Oh, the CEOs? I have no idea what the CEOs said. But the union negotiators, I heard that same sentiment, at least, where the contracts that basically these CEOs of these companies were unwilling to compromise on anything, just like before, and it was a huge waste of everybody's time.
I love it.
In the Variety article I have here, we're wondering, you know, what part of this is causing the delays. They believe it could be that Warner Brothers would not be able to rely on the actual actors to do the advertising press circuit that they would want them to in order to advertise the film.
That's hilarious. You know, here, controversial opinion, I never understood those press circuits.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they're stupid and a waste of time.
I agree. But I guess they must work to some degree.
Question mark?
I mean, if they believe that they're important enough to delay the film for 6 months to try and wait out the strike, I don't know.
Yeah. You know, they're the most important thing ever. Just stop them from getting money, man.
Of course, of course.
Yeah. Let them bleed.
You know who else needs to get stopped from getting money?
Who?
COVID fraudsters.
What?
Justice Department announced this week a series of cases against alleged COVID fraud totaling $836 million in what they are claiming were misused funds.
That's crazy.
Total of 718 law enforcement actions and connected to it, with including a vast array of criminal charges and other sanctions, working to recover stolen pandemic funds.
So that includes the PPP loans, right?
To a degree, yes.
No fucking way.
This would be
a joke.
part of that very broad umbrella.
Okay.
The PPP loans were one of those. Notably, assuming that it is all covered in that, the COVID aid packages totaled roughly $5 trillion. And this is $836 million that is being sought to be returned here. So that's some very easy math to figure out here. That means that roughly 17% of all of that COVID relief spending was misspent. Can you imagine how much news there would be if the uh, COVID stimulus checks ended up having 17% too many of them sent out?
Oh, there'd be like hell to pay.
Yeah,
Yeah. And what kind of which administration put out all that relief money that just got appropriated?
yeah.
Which one? I need to know because I have a good feeling I know which one.
I don't know exactly,
Oh
but
fuck.
yeah.
Regardless,
I mean, you're probably right though.
yeah, that really grinds my gears. Why'd you have to tell me that?
I
And I'm over here paying for fucking student loans.
yeah. Oh yeah. Federal prosecutors in May said they indicted 30 individuals believed to be tied to Milwaukee street gangs, saying they had improperly obtained federal funds for out of work Americans in order to purchase guns, jewelry, and drugs to solicit murder for hire.
That's fucking hilarious. Terrible, but
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. It's just a string of shit like that, where it's just like obviously bad oversight.
You can't see it, but I'm rubbing my eyes. Like full glasses are off at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Here, let me put my fucking eyes closer to the microphone, see if you can hear it.
Friendly reminder that the greatest annual amounts of theft is almost always wage theft.
Are we talking about from the government or just in general?
Just in general,
Oh.
because it almost never gets prosecuted accurately.
Why should it?
More reasons than we have time to get into today. Uh, Luna 25, Russia's first lunar mission in decades, crashed somewhat spectacularly on its entry into the lunar surface this week. Shortly followed up by India attempting a certain mission and making a successful landing.
Is that why Putin had to go kill all those people?
Probably not. And it is important to keep in mind that all of these space related missions tend to be international collaborative efforts. So while it is very amusing to see the, storied Russian cosmonauts get one-upped by India's very relatively recent space program, um, the actual people working on these projects have made it very clear. And there is a quote that I was seeing from one of NASA's top officials, basically saying that yeah, this does just kind of suck.
Yeah.
So it is funny though, regardless.
I'm proud of India.
Yes, the stuff for India is really cool, and it was, I guess maybe it's just like the fashion sensibilities of people involved with space programs, but seeing the video and footage coming out of their like launch control center was like straight out of the 60s with like suspenders, very, business formal attire, like just one step short of everybody having a suit jacket on.
Mm.
It was very visually
Oppenheimer.
represent kind of I can't place the right word, evocative. It
Mm.
was very familiar sights to the kind of stereotypical video that we imagine looking back at like the US's lunar missions.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It's also notably a mission from India approaching the sort of dark side of the moon, where they're continuing with more scientific research.
What are we trying to research about the dark side of the moon?
A lot of it is confirmational testing, right? Because we
Ah.
can put satellites back there and get an idea of what's going on. But being able to send equipment there, collect samples, make analysis, and then bring them back is always good. And for the Indian space program, it serves as a pretty effective like first step, right? It's something that has been done dozens of times. They get to do sort of a unique twist on it and continue to gain, institutional knowledge with their own space program.
Can everybody just be proud of me for not making a Pink Floyd reference to all that as well?
Very.
Thank you. That's all I ask.
Scientists have a particular interest in water ice as it could be used for fuel, oxygen, and drinking water, with the mission laying the groundwork for a potential permanent base. As I'm
Ooh.
sure.
I didn't realize Elon was a part of this project.
Apparently, they have a note here about previous attempts by India having also failed due in great part to the southern pole's particularly rough terrain, making landings difficult. Yeah, it is neat. It's not neat.
What's that?
Subway.
Subway is very much not neat.
I'm always surprised. I guess a lot of it comes down to the kind of predatory system that they have in place for their franchises. But I'm always surprised that there is as many subways as there are.
I'm not.
I don't know. I guess they're relatively easy to start up
They
because you don't
have
need to
to be.
like
Yeah.
you don't have that much equipment. You just have fridges and an oven.
It's not even much of an oven. It's more just like a
Yeah.
superheater.
Yeah. Rourke Capital, owner of many other fast food chains, but notably, including Arby's, has made an agreement to buy the Subway brand for 9.55 billion, including all of its debts.
Damn. Did you ever see that John Oliver segment where they talked about Subway as a company and they talked about like the Korean dramas that are revolving around Subway?
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
Yes. And you've all. Okay, continue the story. Anything you would like to add to this story?
Not especially. A lot of this is talking about something that's called an earn out agreement, with the idea that uh, the what the hell is this? The deal is made successful by Subway. It seems improving their company to a degree to prove that it is valuable enough for the new investors.
Hmm.
So if Subway failed to meet these certain targets, the deal would have fallen through. That seems to be a lot of what's being talked about here. But it's pretty boring, honestly. Apparently, this company also owns branding for Jimmy John's, Baskin Robbins, and Buffalo Wild Wings.
Last time I went to all those restaurants, I had a bad experience, including Subway. So that's very reassuring in my perspective.
Yeah, none of those are particularly great.
No. What is your go-to fast food place that's always consistently good? Because I would say Culver's.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, Culver's for sure, but that feels like kind of cheating.
Well, yeah, it's a Midwest thing. It's not big enough to fuck up yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My like go-to everywhere is generally just McDonald's
Mm.
because like it's hard for them to fuck up a plain cheeseburger.
I beg to differ. There's one McDonald's I'm convinced is hell on earth.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to call it out. I don't live there anymore, so I can dox myself a little bit. But the Byron Center, Michigan McDonald's is the worst place I've ever been to. And not because like the employees are bad or anything like that. It's just always mismanaged. I'm convinced
Mm,
they set their grills there too high, and all of the
weird.
food always comes out burnt.
Weird. I have never had a burned McDonald's burger. That sounds awful.
Dude, it is weird because like it's the patties are already pretty thin, right?
Yeah.
So imagine if they were like crispier, because like
Oh,
they're caramelizing a little bit. I'm convinced they're probably doing it because they want to get the food out faster, but it's never worth it. The fries are always dry as fuck too.
nasty.
Dude, seriously. I had a friend apparently go over there. He got his meal and they were running late because Guess what? The mismanaged place has really bad turnover. Shocking.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Um, and he had to like sit on the sidewalk, well, like drive on the side, like the drive-through, so other people can get their food while they were redoing his order.
Yeah.
Gawky teenage kid comes out and like gives him the order and apologizes. And he looks at the kid and says, "Son, you need to go in there and just like my fries, burn that sucker to the ground." I've I just I have nothing good to say about the Byron Center McDonald's. Anybody going to Byron Center, Michigan, feel free to stop there. It is an absolute treat to say they ruined your order.
It's like a modern mecca.
Dude, they literally put a Culver's in Byron Center, and ever since then, that McDonald's has been getting less and less attention because it's a superior fast food place.
I certainly hope so. Culver's is just better on all accounts.
Yeah.
From what I understand, and I'd be happy to be corrected on this, but from what I understand, they also are far better, offer far better treatment of their workers.
I think so. I have never gone into a Culver's and seen someone on the verge of death like I have at McDonald's.
Yeah,
Plus, they have snazzier uniforms.
true.
For
That's
all
true.
you, for all of y'all not in the Midwest, they have like, what is it, like a tie and apron?
Hmm.
It's all like thematically blue. It's good shit.
Yep. Yep. It's like if Best Buy employees gave a shit.
Damn, Mister Formerly worked at Best Buy. Tell me how you feel.
I don't know. I always found the Best Buy employee uniform to be really dumb,
Mm.
but they've got their branding set, so it's whatever. Reporting. This is just one more little quick adder from Florida as they are dealing with the continued fallout from DeSantis's horrendous tenure as governor. New College of Florida has been reporting that they are starting their semester now, but something like 40% of their faculty has resigned.
Yo, are they going to hire Jordan Peterson?
Probably.
Damn.
They already hired one of DeSantis's stooges. Let me see if I can find the first name. I can't remember what her name is. It's Corcoran.
Okay.
It's a name that I've heard in the Republican conservative circles before. They're very much, unqualified to be the president of this college. But hey, they know DeSantis and they're conservative, so
If you
good
know
for them.
DeSantis, you know what, get a promotion. If you know DeSantis, you know what, get a promotion. Sorry, go on.
But yeah, they're doing quite badly because no shit. Little excerpt. Amy Reed, member of the school's board of trustees, said course options have dwindled after nearly 40% of faculty members have resigned, saying the situation has quickly become untenable. Just before I came to this meeting, I received word that one more faculty member in biology is leaving. In January, Governor Ron DeSantis replaced 6 of the 13 members on the college's board of trustees. New members include Christopher Rufo, who has been at the forefront of the conservative movement against critical race theory, which is an understatement because he literally fabricated it by pulling it out of his ass.
That's why he's at the forefront of it. He created
Yeah.
it. Shaking my fucking head right now.
Yeah, the whole thing is very dumb.
Yeah.
We did get some good news this week, though, on not for you or I, but for longer term student loan borrowers. A new Biden policy has gone into place that will allow for additional forgiveness for, I believe, people who have been making certain payments for 10 years, I believe.
Oh, no shit.
And for a lot of people, it is erasing large interest rates that they have been, unable to deal with, but have still been making payments in good faith. I'm trying to see if I can find it, but the gist of it, I don't see it anymore. The gist of it, from what I understand, was that people who were paying down for something like more than 10 years and had been meeting a certain threshold above the minimum payments for that time would be having up to like pretty much the entirety of the remainder of their student loan debt forgiven. So good job, Biden. It's not perfect, but better than nothing.
Reminds me, my girlfriend actually just had to go through one of those Biden issues with like the new safe plans and whatnot.
Yep.
She got really fucking lucky. She
Hmm.
got one of those safe plans where she just doesn't owe anything.
Damn.
I know. Which really should say more about her employer, if you ask me, since they're income
Oh,
based.
yeah. That is very true.
Yeah.
That's a bit frustrating. I can't find exactly the numbers for it. Oh, well. Last sort of big-ish news story I have here. Um, we get to point and laugh at Sam Bankman-Fried for a little bit because apparently he is refusing to eat the majority of the food that he's being given in prison, and his lawyer says that he is living only on bread and water.
That's silly.
It is very silly.
You know, I don't trust the guy who lied about being a genius about also being like some starving Gandhi esque figure.
Yep. Apparently, Ghislaine Maxwell was at the same detention center for her trial, and she was also denied a vegan meal.
You mean prisons don't serve vegan options? How unjustifiable.
Did we talk about Blue Beetle last week? I
I
can't
think
remember.
briefly.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's
Yeah.
probably all it deserves, anyways.
Damn. Is it because he's Latino, dude?
Oh no, it's because it's a shitty DC. I mean, it's not even shitty. It's just
A
an
D.
underwhelming DC movie.
Damn, dude.
It's like they put out the DC movie in the middle of August. They knew it was happening.
So, do you want to try Time Cube?
Might as well.
Okay. We're going to start at the very tip top. And probably the only way to actually physically read this, because the original website is not for the faint of heart, with the Wikipedia page.
All right.
You ready for this shit?
Yeah. Let's go.
Time Cube was a pseudoscientific personal webpage founded in 1997 by the self-proclaimed wisest man on Earth, Otis Eugene Gene Ray. It was a self-proclaimed outlet for Ray's theory of everything, also called Time Cube. So, to be honest, I don't have the best understanding of this, but the website used to open with, in 24-hour rotations, 4 corner days, cubes 4 quad Earth, and the number one day is God. Free speech is America is bullshit. Evil educators, block and suppressors, www.timecube.com. You are all educated evil, and you might have to kill the evil one teaching educators before you can learn the 4 corners, 4 days, actually evil. But all time cube denied? Dumb are educators, fear me, and hide from debate.
What?
Yeah.
Sounds like an exceptional amount of broken English.
No, dude, it's actually poetry.
Oh, of course.
Everything is poetry if you're pretentious enough.
Yeah.
So, essentially, I'm going to pull up the diagram and kind of explain it, right?
Yeah.
Here's my understanding of how Gene views the world and how Time Cube works. The number 4 happens a lot, and it's a pattern. 4 is another way of saying cubed, because cubes have 4 sides.
Yeah.
minus the bottom and top, though. Forget that. We're not talking about 3-dimensional, we're talking about 4-dimensional. So, much like the cube, Earth has a 24-hour period that consists of 4 6-hour moments. There's the sun up, the midday, the sun down, and midnight. You can also theorize this with how time moves relative to each other. So, sun up, you could say, was the time of Jesus. And then midday was when Socrates was alive. Sundown is when Bill Clinton was in office. Wait, no, I don't know who the Clintons are in this diagram. Fuck.
Right.
And then right after that's Einstein, which technically should be the before the Clintons. Because like
it doesn't make sense.
no, it makes perfect sense. Fuck off. So the personal model of reality, that is Time Cube, states all modern physics and education is wrong, which is why you, Chrial,
Yeah.
indicted by the masses into wrong information and not are not understanding this. I'm fucking breaking my English talking about this.
Yeah.
Yep. Um. um. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to bullshit this as much as possible, but this is like actually beyond the Pepsi logo. So, the following quotation was on the website several times, and it's kind of the main thesis of this, right?
Yeah.
When the sun shines upon Earth 2, major time points are created on the opposite side of the Earth, known as midday and midnight. When the two major time forces join, synergy creates two minor time points, known as sun up and sun down. The four equivalent. I don't even know that's a fucking word. 1 second, I'm going to Google that. It's actually a word. Fuck. Equidistant time points can be considered at time square imprinted upon the time circle of the Earth. In a single rotation of the Earth's sphere, each time corner rotates through a 3-corner time period, thus creating 16 corners, 96 hours, and 4 simultaneous 24-hour days within a single rotation of the Earth, equated to a higher order of life known as Time Cube.
This Wayback Machine website is pretty remarkable.
Isn't it? That is the main point of all this, because the Wikipedia page just summarizes that. But
yeah,
tell us what you're seeing on that fucking website.
It is about. It is just a giant wall of text.
Yep.
To start, and I was just like, all right, what is going on here? I'm going down, going down, going down. It just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. And then you get to the bottom, and there's a button that says next page.
It's very clearly I want to say it's a journal almost.
I'm just gonna read this first bit. This is this is the kind of the guy's dead, of course, at this point.
Yeah.
I believe that's what it says, right?
Yep.
He died in 2015, so I don't want to shit on the guy too hard because this is obviously someone who is having very clear mental breaks from reality, like genuine, probably at the very least schizophrenia, like base level, and then probably more on top of that. In 1884, Meridian Time personnel met in Washington to change Earth time. First words said was that only one day could be used on Earth to not change the one-day Bible. So they applied the one day and ignored the other 3 days. The Bible time was wrong then, and it proved wrong today. This is a major lie, has so much evil feed from its wrong. No man on earth has no belly button. It proves every believer on earth a liar. What's the line
That's
from
yep.
from Blazing Saddles? That's some good old fashioned down home gibberish. It's just all over the fucking place. Children will be blessed for killing of educated adults who ignore 4 simultaneous days same earth rotation, practicing evil oneness upon earth of quadrants, evil adult crime versus youth, supports lie of integration. Oh, so there's the racism part. I saw that on the Wikipedia page where someone was like criticizing subtle little racist ideologues. It's like, oh yeah, one educated are most dumb. Not one human except dead one. Man is paired, two half for self. One of God is only 1/4 of God. Ah, this goes on. I'm gonna go until this I guess breaks here, which isn't too far.
Yeah.
Bible a lie and word is lies. Navel connects 4 corner 4s. It's naval like belly button naval, not like military, to be clear, because that's apparently a recurring theme for some reason. God is born of a mother, she left belly B signature. Every priest has Ma sign, but lies to honor queers. Belly B proves 4 corners. Your dirty, lying teachers use only the midnight to midnight one day, ignoring 3 other days. Time to not foul, already wrong. Bible time. Lie that corrupts earth, you educated stupid fools. Go belly button logic works. When do teenagers die?
When do teenagers die?
It's a question that was asked.
So you know what his like ramblings remind me of?
What's that?
Have you ever heard of Marshall McLuhan?
No, I don't believe so.
So he is a scholar, Canadian scholar. He did a lot of like forefront beginners work into media theory and mass communications theory, which is how I know him. But he he has a very strong way of speaking, and it's kind of like that. Like, let me pull up a passage. I have a book I'm reading by him. Um, so this is from his book Understanding Media, on the nature of media, hot and cold, chapter 2. The rise of the waltz, explained Kurt Schatz, in the world history of dance, was the result of that longing of true simplicity closest to the nature, and primitivism, which is the last 2/3 of the 18th century fulfilled, which was direct quote, by the way. In the century of jazz, we are likely to overlook the emergence of the waltz as a hot and explosive human expression that broke through the formal boundaries of feudal barriers of courtly and choral dances at the time. There is a basic principle that distinguishes a hot medium like radio and a cool one like the telephone, or a hot medium like the movie from a cool one like television. All of his shit reminds me of like just really bad parodying of like how McLuhan writes. Which he would have been around the time that McLuhan became popular. So I'm just saying that might be how he thinks the smart people are supposed to talk. Now, have you gotten to the bounty part of the website?
Yeah, I kind of skimmed over it.
He has a bounty where he's offered $1,000 or $10,000 to anybody that can prove TimeCube wrong, which is quite impressive because to prove TimeCube wrong, you have to prove it right first.
Yeah. It's just not how science works. I also like that there was a bit in the Wikipedia page from Mike Hartwell of the main campus wrote that any attempt to claim the prize would require convincing Ray that his theory was invalid. The proof would need to be framed in terms of his own model, thus deviating from any form of modern science. Quote, even if you can pull that off, Ray is probably broke.
Yeah. In fact, there's one little thing I want to point out here. So in 2005, there was a documentary made called Above God about Ray and the Time Cube.
Yep.
Which is apparently won a few awards at a movie festival, and I kind of want to see this thing. What is your what's the word I'm looking for? What
Man,
is
I'm trying to figure out how the Clintons measure into any of this. The word Clinton isn't on the first page at all. On the second page, it is only brought up at the very end without any context. Just like how the one says Clintons live here, that's like basically it. And I have no idea what the hell it's supposed to say. I mean, realistically, right?
Yeah,
You know, when was Bill president, right?
like the 90s. Like wasn't he the first one
Exactly.
after fucking Reagan?
93 to 2001.
Okay.
So this is like peak Clinton presidency. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is probably just that this guy is having a mental break and blaming it on whoever the leader is at the time.
I would say so. If only he was alive long enough for Pizzagate to become a thing for him, he would have flipped the fuck out. Also, I get QAnon vibes from it too.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I agree. All right. I have 7 links here at the bottom.
Yep.
I'm curious which one do you think I should click? We have above God, are you Jewish? Public warning, the power above God, pedantic mind control, Greenwich time debunked, and all clock faces are wrong.
I don't want to go after the Jewish one because that sounds very problematic real fucking fast.
I'm kind of interested in the clock faces one
Yeah,
because
that's why I
like
want to. My guess is that he's going to say it needs to be like a square clock.
he doesn't.
Fuck.
So apparently his what a useless fucking clock.
What? Tell me.
So the whole thing here is that is the idea, as best as I can fucking figure, that what we consider to be a day is actually more like a half of a day, and that he has defined a day as something else. If that, I was about to say if that makes sense, but it doesn't. So, yeah. Then that gets into the whole 4 to 16 thing, right? He takes a 24-hour period of sun up, sundown, sunset, sunrise. Those are the four sections that he considers that make up a day, and he then has each of those four being applied to the four like faces of his stupid time cube thing, which is
Mm-hmm.
not the number of faces that a cube has. A cube has 6 faces, but I doubt he realizes that
Four
at all.
sides.
Still, so he has a 16 segment clock, but based on his own thing, that would be like having a single clock face for the entire week and would be useless. As best as I can understand, at least.
Makes you wonder how he lived, you know?
Yeah. Obscurantism. What is obscurantism? I guess it's exactly what it sounds like.
What? Tell me.
This is the public warning. St. Petersburg Times is evil for refusing to inform public about the recent discovery of nature's 4-day time cube. Greatest scientific discovery of humanity. Providing time cube obscurantism as equal to forbidden knowledge or to a criminal brainwashing of children by the educators. Demand the Times 8938111 to print Nature's Time Cube.
Man, this man's spitting.
Fact. But obscurantism is the practice of deliberately preventing the facts or full details of something becoming known.
Mm, mm, mm.
This really reminds me of God, I should remember what it's called. A few years ago, Linus Tech Tips did a review of a like religion-based operating system for
Temple OS.
Temple OS. It reminds
Yeah.
me a lot of that, where
Yeah.
it's like you can see thoughts in here, but they're all so obviously disjointed due to the obvious mental stress that this person is undergoing. And you just it's like I feel pity for this, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to pick on this guy because he's dead and he was clearly going through some pretty awful shit and he didn't make it any easier for himself by going with this stuff.
No, I agree with you. Like, I find it fascinating. I don't know
Yeah.
about you. Like, I have a weird fixation with, like, the mentally ill. And I'm not talking
Mm-hmm.
about, like, just, like, the normal mental illness. I'm talking about, like, this disillusion from reality, kind of.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah. I feel like there's so much you can learn about the human psyche from these people. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
talking about, like, the quirky, like, oh, I watch true crime documentaries kind of way. I'm like, no, this is, like, how'd you get here?
Yeah.
When was the day you walked down this path? Like, he never hurt anybody, so it's not like anything too crazy. He's just some dude.
Well,
What?
he did tell people to go kill all their teachers.
Fuck. I forgot about that. You know what? Never mind. You're right. I mean, who hasn't wanted to kill all their teachers before? Am I right, fellas?
Ayo. Yeah, whole thing is very strange.
It is. What were your thoughts on Temple OS? Because I've always been strangely fascinated with that guy.
It's very gives me the same vibes where it is like fascinating in like watching a car crash kind of a way
Oh yeah, the Chris
where
Chan syndrome.
it's like I'm not enjoying this, but I am also trying. I this person clearly thought they had a logic, and that logic is not there. But I still want to try and understand where they're coming from because they clearly believed it.
Yeah.
And I think it's not too surprising that a lot of this ultimately ties back to religion and very like literally biblical tropes and amounts of racism, anti-Semitism, etc., etc., compounded with the obvious sorts of conspiracy theories that one would expect to be associated with this kind of stuff. Things that just don't make any sense because they're not based in sense. Very strange. The way that there's this whole, X person lives here thing is the big thing for me that's just like, okay, this is like what like do they know what's going on? I don't even think they know what's going on.
I don't think so either.
Like would have to imagine those are like from his perspective, like his literal demons. You have Einstein, who he describes as. Oh, no, I remember that. He says Einstein was singularity stupid.
That's pretty impressively stupid, though.
Einstein was oneist brain.
Oneist. He hadn't graduated to the fours.
Apparently not. Socrates doesn't even come up on the first page. Like the Jesus stuff is like, yeah, whatever. He literally believes he is above any god. So the son of God would be, an obvious God, that was pretty horrible.
What?
Where does Socrates come up? Socrates was killed to hide truth from public. Mm.
I thought. Never
That's
mind.
literally that is the first and only mention of Socrates until you get to the weird chart thing.
Socrates.
So
Pretty
we
sure.
have Socrates. What was it? Socrates was killed to hide truth from public.
But what about
Uh,
Diogenes?
Einstein was one brain.
Yeah.
Literally nothing about the Clintons, and then the Jesus thing is the Jesus thing.
Oh, Socrates did die by forced suicide. What?
Yeah,
I think I'm mixing Socrates up with Plato.
probably.
Yeah.
They all kind of blend together.
Except unless you're Diogenes.
Oh, and that one doesn't work because large parts of the website probably just weren't archived in time.
Yeah. I mean, who could have saw that coming?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the guy had it was just TimeCube as the domain, right? Timecube.com. That is a incredibly valuable domain, especially when he would have died in 2015.
Yeah. Which was really back when the internet boom was starting to really take off for like capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
What? What is this?
What's up?
I think someone resurrected the time cube for modern day, like the page.
Did they?
Yeah, I accidentally wandered onto the wrong site.
TimeCube 2. Oh my god. Oh. We have SoundCloud embeds. This is really the modern TimeCube.
Yeah, I were there time cube followers? Or did someone just save the website and just re-upload it on a different hosting domain?
No idea. It seems like it's just a rehost. I don't know
Yeah,
what this domain is, but that could possibly be related to it if it's like a shortened URL kind of thing.
there's a YouTube video of an interview with Gene Ray.
I'm sure it's fascinating.
Don't lie.
I also love that they have the only official site for Gene Ray / TimeCube when this is like obviously not that. So this is definitely just copy pasted.
I can see like some internet archivist was going to do this.
Let's do a fun thing. I'm gonna scroll to a random part, and we'll just see what it says.
Okay.
Oh wow.
What?
This is a quote. Okay, this is verbatim. I'm not making this up. I couldn't make this up. Opposite burrito organs prove male and female to be binary opposites equal 0 value, and nothing as unified one.
Of course.
Who doesn't know the burrito organs?
That's like basic biology. What's a burrito organ?
It's a good question that I don't think an answer exists for.
Like I keep thinking he's like trying to speak metaphorically and there's like some kind of other allusion to what he's saying, but no.
He says burrito more than he says about the Clintons.
That's just impressive.
Let's find out. I believe it's just like his way of trying to avoid saying penis or vagina.
But like what where's the comparison?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
You know why we call them other things than a fucking penis and vagina? It's because they can be described as other things.
Upon an Earth of opposite poles covered by Mama Hole and Papa Pole, pulsating opposite burritos.
I had a
The
po-
oneist educated with their flawed one eye perspective, opposite parentheses, opposite eyes overlay. Cyclops mentality inflicts status, non pulsating logos as a fictitious unicorn same burrito transformation.
Gesundheit.
Yeah.
I had a poster fall like behind me while you were saying that, and I got really fucking scared. My girlfriend was here, and she's gonna overhear just us talking about fucking burrito penises and burrito vaginas.
It's weird.
We're so getting banned off YouTube for this one. Like we got banned off Spotify.
Man, God entity is unicorn burrito.
Yes, that sounds
The
like
whole thing
something.
is so nonsensical.
It sounds like one of those things quirky kids would write on their fucking like MySpaces back during like, the emo days.
Yeah.
Roar! I got a burrito penis.
Wait.
What?
What? All right. I just have to read this because it doesn't make sense. I No man, nation, or god equal time cube, or sorry, no man, nation, or god equal cube symmetry of opposites. Mathematically impossible for a genius or any god to match my cubic wisdom. Educators fear me, they cower and run. 6 sides constitutes a burrito tet, not a cube. Teaching that a cube has 6 sides with no top and bottom induces an boring curse that pervades all academic institutions.
You know, educators fear me as well, but that's because I have an ugly face.
Burrito tet.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Would you rather you talk about a burrito dick?
I don't I don't know. I for one am in stern agreement here with Mr. Ray that we too should replace all mentions of genitalia in all literature with burritos.
Man, the picture of Dorian Gray is going to be very strange now.
How many times does he say burrito in the second page? Now I gotta know now.
Was he like eating a burrito while he was typing this out, and that was like the first thing that comes to mind?
No idea. This is by ENP Restoration did this website. Thanks to the Wayback Machine for helping restore the site has been changed from its original form in good taste, in loving memory of Dr. Gene Ray, original creator of TimeCube.com. So does good taste include removing the obvious... Oh, they did. They removed the obvious racism.
Good on them?
I don't know. Is it?
I would say yes, because they were able to recognize the flaws in his original logic.
I don't know. What a weird thing.
Yeah, dude. And now you are assimilated into the Time Cube cult like myself. We're having burritos for dinner.
Wonderful. Just make sure they're not burrito tets.
You have anything else for the show, Mr. Chrial?
I don't think anything could follow that up.
I know. That's why I wanted. Okay, actually, no. Big question right now.
Yeah.
Which was crazier, Time Cube or the Pepsi document?
Absolutely Time Cube.
Time Cube. Gotcha.
The Time Cube's a lot more genuine, right?
Yeah.
The Pepsi stuff just sounds like corporate garbage. But you know, at least one person believed in Time Cube.
I can believe other people falling for not falling, but like getting behind Time Cube because of how they choose to present themselves.
Hmm.
Okay.
I did want to mention,
Yo.
uh, I was just like double checking Rotten Tomatoes to see what the hell's going on this week. Apparently, they're doing a Jurassic Park, like the original Jurassic Park, re-release in theaters right now.
Yes, I actually heard that as well.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. Celebration cinemas seem to be the priority for showing them.
I will say this. They should have at least done that first before making Jurassic World Domain.
Yeah. Did you hear about the Jurassic World Magic the Gathering crossover?
Yes, I heard some
Because
of it.
of course that's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The for me, the most disappointing part of it is that it's a Jurassic World branded crossover. And they'll probably incorporate elements from both, but the fact that they went with that very much shows to me where the, you know, is it Disney? Whoever the fuck owns Jurassic Park now. I guess it would be Disney because they bought. Uh, no, I guess it's Universal still. Regardless, the whole thing just kind of sucks.
So we're going to get Chris Pratt on a Magic card, right?
Unfortunately, we probably will.
We're one step closer to Magic the Gathering meets Mario.
Yep. It is kind of fun though because we have other real world actors on Magic cards already, and it's like a real representation of we can see who would win in a fight.
As long as I get a Jeff Goldblum card, I'll be happy.
That would be fun.
Who are the other real world people on Magic cards?
So the big ones right now were from the Dungeons and Dragons movie. I can't remember. One of them was Chris Pine because he was like the main lead in it. We also got Michelle Rodriguez, Hugh Grant, and a couple of the other main actors in that, but they are not as large of names.
Mm.
We also had a set of cards for both The Walking Dead a while ago now that depicts those characters, and for oh shit, the fucking Netflix show with the like 80s Stranger Things.
Oh, really?
They did one for Stranger Things, yeah. So that's where we're at right now.
Cool.
And you know, as it is with a lot of the Magic the Gathering stuff, the numbers don't really make a ton of sense, but it's kind of whatever.
I can't wait for the Final Fantasy set where I can have Vivi just beat the fucking shit out of Chris Pratt.
Perfect.
In the meantime,
20,
oh, sorry.
2025.
Yeah. In the meantime, I'm Miss Ryan and I've been a Schmoe.
And I'm Chrial, and I've been a schmoe.
And this has been the Two Schmo Show, baby. Yeah.